How do you choose the most perfect gift for your loved one this Valentine's Day based on their personality type in the 5 elements? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you some secrets that you might not know about your partner or the person that you are in love with, the person you'd like to show that you're interested in. This video is going to teach you how to think about what would most appeal to that person. So because Valentine's Day is coming up, I thought I would make this video, and it's going to give you a little overview about each of the 5 elements in terms of what would appeal the most to them as a gift. Now, it doesn't have to be Valentine's Day if you're watching this after the day and you're wanting to impress someone or find something just to appreciate maybe a long-term partner, a spouse or something like that. You can use this video to do that. So we're just going to jump into the gift choices for each of these elements. Now, if you're not sure what these elements are or what this whole thing is, then I'll give you a little bit of that at the very end of the video, and you can jump back and forward if you need to, or you can go and watch one of my ones before this about the 5 element personality types in Chinese medicine. So the first one that we're going to talk about is fire. Now, the fire type makes sense to talk about that first because this is the type. If your partner is a fire type, do not forget them. Do not forget them on Valentine's Day, because out of all the types, this one is the most romantic type. So they are going to really appreciate and desire, because that is part of being a fire type. They want to be loved. They love gestures of love. And all of this stuff that we see about Valentine's Day in the media, on TV, things like that, actually is what a fire type would like. So if you watch that stuff and you think, oh, that's stupid, roses everywhere, candles and things like that, and that is the worst thing that you would want, you're probably not a fire type. But this kind of these kinds of romantic gestures definitely would appeal to a fire type. So you run them a bath and you put a little path of roses or something like that. That's going to be right up the fire type's alley. Now, what are some other things that appeal to a fire type? So they like entertainment. They like to be entertained, amused. So a concert tickets to someone they really like, a musician, singer, something like that they really like, a band they really love to see, that could appeal to them. Some kind of artistic thing that they're into. It's got to be something that they really love. And something that's entertaining for that sake. Now, they also are very social people, so they're going to appreciate you taking them out to dinner and being wined and dined, not necessarily needing the alcohol, but depends on the person that you're seeing and your situation. But they enjoy being out in public. They're going to enjoy putting on a beautiful dress or suit or something like that, dressing up, having an occasion to look good for. They themselves will enjoy the process of doing their hair and their makeup and being all beautiful if they're a female, or maybe if they're a male, that kind of thing. So you probably tell them in advance that they're going to have something to look forward to, because you could surprise these people with something, but tell them to be prepared, because they will appreciate the opportunity to be prepared and to look good. They will want to look good for the occasion. So that's kind of the fire type. They are very romantic. Other things that appeal to fire personality types is being pampered. So maybe you're not going to go out for dinner, but that, maybe this is a partner that you've been with for a long time. You've got lots of kids, and that's just not a possibility to do that. Although that would be lovely. Get a babysitter, organise those things for them so that they can just go out. You guys can just go out together and enjoy the evening, or enjoy the day, like a romantic picnic during the day, something like that. But they also enjoy being pampered. So pampering could be just like a massage voucher, or even a couple's massage, or getting their nails done, or something that they maybe don't do for themselves that much because circumstances have changed in their life. If you're a fire type of person, you probably pay a lot of attention to these things, these aesthetic things. They're important to you. So that's all fire type. Actually, the fire type for the gift is probably the easiest one, because it kind of fits into the flowers, the chocolates, the dinner very, very easily, and these, the romantic candles and all that sort of stuff. So they're the easy one, actually, out of the way for Valentine's Day. The next type we're going to talk about is earth. Now, earth also has a big need in their life for relationships, just like fire does. So you're most likely to be with someone if you're an earth or a fire type. But earth people tend to enjoy more the family things in a relationship.
I just want to take time to say thank you for my family.
The talking, the communication. So, especially if you're not this type and you're with a person and that's not who you are. Now, sometimes you're like, well, maybe I don't know how people like that get together if they can't stand that and they're with someone who really needs that communication. But if that's not what you normally do and you know they're an earth type, make some time to listen to them, make some time to talk. So they're going to want to go out to dinner in a place where they can talk, not a place where the music is so loud and you can't hear each other, or, whereas a fire type might, if they're younger, they might want to go dinner and dancing and they don't care whether they can hear you or not. It's having a good old time. Whereas an earth type will want something where they can hear you, you can hear each other and you can just enjoy the intimacy of the conversation. They're going to love that. They also, would appreciate your time, you being with them in that space, making the time for them. Another thing that earth people really appreciate is family.
Hey, give me gas. In my day, Sherman, people used to spend time with their family on Sundays and special occasions, come around and pay their respect.
So being with other people that are important to you. So it could be your gang, your crew. It could be your actual immediate family. Like they might not necessarily need a romantic one-on-one dinner with you like a fire type would. They might just as much enjoy you being part of the family and having that family dinner. And especially if you have children and you're kind of all included in that. Now, these are all just ideas. Not every some earth element types are probably listening to this like, I'm sick of a family. I want to go out. I want him or her to take me or out to dinner and just have I want that time. We need that time alone. Maybe you do. So I'm not saying don't do that at the detriment of, if that's what you do all the time. But that sort of stuff generally appeals to earth element types. Okay, the next type is the metal type. And metal types of people really have a strong appreciation of beauty, aesthetic beauty. So if you're thinking about getting them a gift or going somewhere, a place that is like a standout, aesthetically beautiful place will appeal to them. A gift that is like architecturally beautiful. They appreciate art. If you're going to go somewhere, they might even like appreciate a play, an opera, something like that. Like they tend to be quite meticulous. Maybe engineers and people like this they fall into those professions very easily. And, they like things to be orderly and neat. And they probably want to know about it ahead of time so they can plan and so they can be prepared. I forgot to mention with the earth types, you should also plan and prepare them, because one is that earth types of people tend to worry more if there's nothing. So if you're in a relationship with someone and they're like, oh, Johnny's forgotten about Valentine's Day again, they're probably going to feel very sad and worried as well, like, worry about it. So just take that off the table for them and let them know in advance. So with metal types, getting back to the metal type, they they appreciate the effort that it would take for you to go to for something. They like a clean space. They like sometimes minimalistic is a very popular sort of aesthetic that metal types like. Now, they're not all the same. They're also very community-based kinds of people, moralistic sort of people. So maybe a gift that fits into those kinds of things for them could be something. But a piece of art. And they're the sorts of people that would rather spend probably more money on one thing that's very nice to them versus lots of things that would clutter the space that are less meaningful and less thought invoking or even, emotional for that person. So that's the metal type. Okay, the next type is the water type. Now, water types, you could surprise them. Okay, because water types are probably not expecting this kind of thing. Romance is probably the least thing on their mind, thinking about Valentine's Day, especially if this is someone that you've been with for a long time, or someone that you're not with yet, and you just want to show a gesture of appreciation. I want to hazard a guess are not the people that would go out of their way to show love on Valentine's Day to somebody else. They're probably busy doing the thing that they love to do, and you just sort of think, oh, that's kind of just a commercial thing that we don't need to get involved in. But nevertheless, they can still benefit from that, and you can show interest in a person like that, and they would probably not be too fazed by the surprise. Surprise, surprise! So what do water type of people like? Well, they love adventure. They love to go on a journey. They like travel usually. They're a good preparedness type of person, as in they're usually quite prepared with things. Like they might, have a lot of skills in these kinds of things, and they might enjoy a camping trip or something like that. So I'm not saying surprise them with a camping trip completely, but as in they like to prepare. So let them prepare in some way. But they're something adventurous, right? So maybe even you're going to go out for dinner, but then you also take them somewhere where they go bungee jumping, or they have an experience. So water types like experience, like something that's a bit tangible, that maybe if you want to really show them a good time, like something they couldn't get anywhere else, show them that you're a person that can give them a really good time, something they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So maybe you have connections in the social areas that they don't have, and that would give them a new experience, something new that they've never done before, that's like, oh, that's something I can talk about, or something I think about, and that will give them fuel for times to come when they're kind of in their own little space doing their own thing that they do. So they don't mind a bit of something different, action, adventure, that kind of stuff. The other thing you could do for them if you're taking them out for dinner is to show interest in their weird little projects that they're interested in, because they will have those things. They will be interested in something, and you might think, this is a bit boring, this is like a good time for me. So we're talking about how you can show appreciation to the one that you love. So let's say you've got a fire type with a water type. The fire type would be benefited by those romantic sort of gestures, and the water type won't be thinking about doing that stuff unless they really make an effort to do that. So if you're the fire type trying to have a nice dinner with the water type, you would want to show a genuine interest in the things that they're interested in, and their projects that they're doing, and what they've been doing with their time, and where they see themselves in the future, and things like that. And they might be a bit of a nutty professor kind of, or they might have these things that you think, oh, they're a bit of delusions of grandeur, stuff like that. But they really do sometimes want to make a difference in the world and do something that's purposeful, and they might be spending a lot of time thinking about that, or thinking about the future. All right, so now we get to the wood type. So the wood types also like action and adventure, and I think out of all the types, they probably wouldn't mind the surprise. They would probably like the surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, motherfucker.
But they wouldn't mind to be surprised. So, they're probably the most easygoing to go off the cuff. Like 1 minute we're doing this, another minute we're doing that. They're very flexible types of people, wood types of people. And they also do enjoy a good old experience, something that's different, something that's unusual, especially something that allows them to explore something new. And that might be hard for a wood type because they're probably already doing all those things themselves. And these are probably difficult people to buy gifts for, because they are quite resourceful people. They probably have all this stuff themselves already. And you think, what can I get them that they don't have themselves already? Or they can't make themselves in some way. And so one of the things that they do like, and this might be hard to do, but would appeal to them, is they want to be appreciated for their efforts, right? They want, recognition for what they've done. So even if you show recognition and appreciation for that, or you help them in some way get that, because often they're busy doing the thing that they love to do, and they just wish that people would recognize them, because they probably are doing a lot of good stuff in the world. And it'd be nice to be recognized, get an award or some kind of notice. They get noticed in some way. They they don't mind a bit of celebrity and fame and things like that at the same time. So I'm not sure if that's a gift you can get them, but that kind of is part of it. But another thing that comes to mind is something like that they don't make time to do, but they would still benefit from that. Like, so wood types of people tend to be very creative people. And there's a big benefit in doing something new creatively. So, you go to a class where you do pottery and you have a glass of wine and you can have a dinner and do some art at the same time, or something a bit unusual, like one of those places where they blindfold you and you're not tied up somewhere, but you're you're having a dinner in the dark or something, like some kind of experience. Similar to the water types, both of these types would appreciate some kind of experience and a bit of action and adventure kind of a thing as well. So yeah, I hope that gives you a bit of an idea about how you could treat the person you are interested in or the person you love this Valentine's Day. And we're going to talk a little bit that there are these types quickly. So if you're new to Chinese medicine, firstly, if you're new to the podcast, make sure you like and subscribe to the video, of course. Why wouldn't you do that? Now would be the time. So if you're new to this idea of types, in Chinese medicine, there are kind of 5 elements that we see in the world, and we can attribute these things to having characteristics. Now, this is a little bit off course from the stock standard. It's definitely not classical Chinese medicine. It's kind of what some people call a bit esoteric, a bit different. It's not stock standard traditional Chinese medicine. It's a bit of one of the offshoots, the bit of the esoteric offshoots of Chinese medicine. And to think about these things as characteristics that we all have, but 1 or 2 of these element characteristics will be dominant for us, and we call that your type, right? I call it your type. So your personality type in Chinese medicine would be the dominant element that you have. Now, this is based on the idea that you have all those types within you, so you can draw on all of those things. So what that means is, if you think about gifts for people, like, and you think, oh no, Marie, I watched this video, but I've already planned the romantic dinner because that's what I thought they would like, and I've just realized that my person is a wood type. Will they still enjoy that dinner out? Yeah, probably, because we all have those traits in us. It's just some are more dominant than others. And actually, a more holistic kind of a person is to recognize the trait that you have, recognize the dominant characteristic, or 2, which element, there's usually one that's quite dominant and then a second one that's, second dominant. And then to embrace that, but then to go a step further and to think, well, I can be all those elements, and that's kind of a more transcendent way of being. So you may come across someone that you think it's very hard to tell their type. They kind of enjoy all of those things that you said, Maria. They're kind of a bit of everything. And that might be a much more advanced person that's worked on themselves characteristically. Sometimes the older you get as well, you kind of will be able to transcend those things. But when you're younger, you often just don't have the life experience of knowing who you are, right? It takes time to learn who you are and to learn about yourself. So I found that when I was younger, I was much more dominant, like wood type, and to the exclusion of other things. Whereas now it's like, yeah, I know that that's my type, but like I'm not excluding the other things. I can still enjoy that. I know that I can still get benefit from that, but it might not be my preference or my first thought, my first thing. So it allows you to then explore those other areas without sort of self-judgment that, that's not who I am, right? Let's think about that. Let's explore that. Let's try a little bit of that stuff. So if you're interested in learning about these types, I've got videos on each one in detail. So there's one about it's just titled, Am I the wood type? Am I the earth type? In the comments of those, or the description of those, there's a link to a quiz that you can do that I've made up, and I'll put that link in this one as well, so you can kind of do that quiz to know for yourself. When you watch the videos and you're sort of saying, you're thinking about your partner, you might be thinking, oh, that's them, that's them, that's them, and you might think, oh, okay, there's a lot of water that resonates, like water characteristics that resonates with my partner, but then you watch the fire type and you think, but there's also some fire types things that are resonating. So that's fine. That's good. That means they're probably dominantly the first one, and the second, the other trait is also a dominant or a subdominant kind of trait for them. That is pretty common, that you'll have 2 out of the 5. Now, what's great about the 5 element types, it's only 5. You know, you do MBTI or you do Enneagram or something like that, and there's more and more and more types, and it becomes harder and harder to kind of remember them all, to be good at them all. So those are still types that are valid, and they're different systems that are there. But in the 5 element types, it's kind of just very simple that there are these 5 types. Now, we also think that the types could become out of balance, and you would be either become deficient. You could be normal in that type, deficient in that type, or excessive in that type. And so each element kind of has 3 permutations that you might see based on, you know, if a person's deficient or excess or balanced or normal, of that normal living healthily in that type. So that can kind of make it a bit more complex, because you to identify what your partner is like, what the traits they are like. Now, even an experienced practitioner, you do have 5 element types of practitioners that deal with disease and illness from a 5 element perspective. So their job is to basically diagnose what is your dominant type, not just from your personality, but also from your characteristics, like what your body is like, your traits, like how you walk, how you talk, what your voice sounds like, the smell that your body has. These kinds of things are part of the diagnostic process. And experts in that area will say things like it can be quite a process to work out what someone's true type is when they're in a state of illness, because those kinds of things can be deceiving us to think that this is the dominant type, but actually that might be a different type in a state of illness that's there. So don't be worried if it's a little bit tricky for you to work out the type. But if something stands out to you, just know that, like, you're thinking about your partner and what type they might be. If you're pretty sure they're that type, and you do an activity like that, and they enjoy that, well, that's good. Like you've done something great for them, and you've both learned something about each other in that process, hopefully. And you've hopefully had a lovely Valentine's Day. So I encourage you to explore your relationship or your potential relationship with some of these ideas. And I hope that this video has been useful and helpful to you. I'm Marie Hopkinson. I'm a herbalist and acupuncturist, and I look forward to helping you discover the wonders of Chinese medicine. We try to make Chinese medicine easy and fun to learn on this channel for self-help use and things like that. So you can like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again on another video soon.